Hello everyone, ex-Wallkill Bethelite here. And I would like to explain how Bethelites, people that go to Bethel, and this could apply to people that go to Gilead and other places as well. People always assume that if someone had an issue at Bethel, that the individual and not Bethel is at fault. Bethel can't be at fault. So if a person is having an issue, automatically the assumption is that there is something that person is not doing right. There's something spiritually wrong with that individual. And I want to explain how a lot of people with really good intentions end up going to Bethel. And I mean the best intentions in the world. They don't go there doing anything wrong. But situations arise. And if any situation arises that's not favorable, the assumption is that something is wrong with you. And then that person gets blackballed. That person is, their reputation is damaged. And they themselves may not have done anything wrong. Pure assumption. Jehovah's Witnesses can operate on pure assumption. And I'm going to give you an example. So the example with me at Bethel, I went to Bethel just to serve in the best way possible. Bethel, to me, I would be able to focus more energy on serving God than I would have been able to pioneering, because pioneering, you still had to work secularly. You had to do a lot of your errand running, and you had to do a lot of things other than serve God. So to me, Bethel was just the best possible way I could focus all my time and energy and serving God. And that was my motive. And the car that I drove to Bethel was my Pioneer car. So this is a car that I purchased. It wasn't brand new when I bought it. But when I purchased it, I drove for door to door. Oftentimes, when you're doing calls or you're visiting the people that you have given magazines to, you're just driving all over the place. And I'm doing that regularly because I worked third shift. So there was only myself and like one other person that worked third shift. It was just me and that person driving, taking turns driving. So we drove a lot. I put a lot of miles on that car, not just driving to work. I had a little bit of a distance to drive to work. So I'm putting a lot of miles on that car. If you have a long drive to work, that means you're driving it every day, not just to work, but back from work. And you're driving it almost every day for the door-to-door work, going out in service. And when I was accepted to Bethel, I drove that same car from Ohio clear to Wallkill, New York. Eventually, I ended up having car problems. Now, I want to know how many of you can in detail tell me what the procedures are at Bethel if someone is having car trouble. Because if you're at Wallkill, your congregation could be 40 minutes away, 45 minutes away, an hour away. And there isn't a subway system like there is in Brooklyn. You have to drive. or have someone else drive. A car is very important if you're going to get to your meetings, if you're going to get to service. So I want to know if any of you guys know what the procedure is. Has it been printed in a watchtower? Is there a book where the procedure, if a Bethelite's car, a Bethelite is having car problems, you know, is that listed there? The answer is no. You don't know what the procedure is. You don't know that once you get to Bethel after driving for 10 plus hours to get there, you don't know that you're going to have car problems. So I ended up having car problems, and my car stopped on me. Ended up having the car towed back to the farm, back to Wallkill, Bethel, and the car sat in front of the auto shop. Bethel literally has an auto shop. Well, they weren't going to work on the car. So there's some stipulation that you have to have your car first pass state inspection. Otherwise, they won't touch the car. They won't help you out with it at all. I'd had a chance to get that far yet. So what's the procedure? What is Bethel then going to do? Because I now don't have a car. Doesn't make me a bad person. It's just there was something going on with the car. It was somewhat, you know, minor. I think it was the alternator or something to that effect. And I'm all the way in New York. My family and everybody's all the way in Ohio. What am I going to do about this car that's not working? So I worked in the warehouse. We would have different things shipped to the warehouse, and then we would put them on trucks and send them out to the different facilities, whether it be Patterson, Brooklyn, what have you. Well, our schedule, we couldn't necessarily leave unless all our trucks were done. We couldn't get our trucks done until the trucks first got there. Which means I'm leaving work sometimes after the other Bethelites that went to my congregation were already driving to the hall. This wouldn't have been an issue if I had my car. If I had my car, I just would have had my meeting clothes in my locker room at Bethel. I'd have went to the locker room and just changed clothes, hopped in the car, drove to my congregation. But no, this is an issue without my car. So we are supposed to be focused on Bethel. If there is work to be done at Bethel, they will tell you your primary focus is the work. You don't go to your meeting. So I wasn't going to be able to leave for my meeting until all those trucks were done. This became an issue if I keep leaving work late and all the other Bethelites got off work at regular time and they're driving to the hall and my car is down. The issue was with an alternator. I went and got an alternator. I literally went to like a Napa store and bought an alternator. All I needed to do was change it. Now let's go back. My car is in front of a auto shop. The auto shop, not only would they not like help fix what the issue was, they wouldn't even tell me what the issue was. They wouldn't touch it. They wouldn't touch it. They said you can push the car in here and you can work on it in here, but we're not touching that car. These are just JWs. These are just regular JWs that are mechanics. None of them would touch the car. So first I thought it was the battery. I went and bought a battery because I'm a Jehovah's Witness. I got my car parked outside of an auto shop owned by Jehovah's Witnesses, operated by Jehovah's Witnesses, and they wouldn't even tell me what was wrong with the car. They wouldn't even do a diagnostic and say, okay, well, we'll just at least let you know what the problem is and then let it go from there. Then you got to fix it from there. They wouldn't do anything. So I went and bought a battery. The battery wasn't the issue. Then I went to go get an alternator. And my dad, who is not a Jehovah's Witness, my biological father was not a Jehovah's Witness, he ended up coming clear from New Jersey. That's like a 4-hour drive to help his son with the car. My father, who was a mechanic, drove 4 hours to help me with a car that a whole bunch of Jehovah's Witnesses who were mechanics at the shop that it was parked at wouldn't help with. So we got the alternator in the car. Car ran fine. Here's the problem. I missed meetings during the course of getting all this done. I'm a busy Bethelite. I have work to do. I have additional duties, dish duties, watchman duties. I have other things I have to do. I have a busy schedule. My schedule changed. I got morning worship. It's not like I can just wake up early and start working on my car. I got morning worship I got to go to before I can get to my assignment. Some evenings I couldn't work on the car because I had to go to the Bethel Family Watchtower study or something else that was going on. You're busy as a Bethelite. There's a lot of other things going on. So I didn't have time to just devote everything to the car. I got to the car when I could work on the car. And eventually I had to have a relative drive 4 hours both ways to make sure the car was okay, and that relative was not a Jehovah's Witness. Stop me where I'm at fault here. Stop me where I'm at fault. If I was a mechanic, yeah, I'd have had the car done and I wouldn't have missed as many meetings. So I get the car finished with help. Not from the other Jehovah's Witnesses. And here's the thing, I'm missing meetings. The other Jehovah's Witnesses at Bethel didn't even care that I'm missing meetings. What's to say that one of the quote-unquote brothers there at the farm at Wallkill, who was off duty, couldn't just help me with the alternator? It didn't take my dad that long to help out with that stuff. So I ended up missing meetings, and when I start getting back to the meetings, I start getting those looks from the other people in the congregation. You're automatically bad now. You're automatically a bad person. Automatically you're a bad person. This is the thing about Jehovah's Witnesses that I don't know a lot of people understand. The judgment is just automatic. They don't even, before they even ask you what happened, the judgment is automatic. So I told them, you know, I haven't been able to make it because, you know, my job requires me to work a little bit later, and I didn't have a car to get to the meeting. And I remember the people at the hall, when I would tell them that, their brains almost shut down, because I'm explaining a situation where a Bethelite can miss meetings, and it's not the Bethelite's fault. They're used to anything going wrong. Anything, it's the Bethelite's fault. We're not blaming the organization for anything. We're just let's just get rid of the Bethelite. Any situation that happens, let's just get rid of the Bethelite. It's your fault. You're evil. You're a bad person. So I told her what happened in detail, and I wasn't telling her in a manner that I was putting blame. I was just telling her what the situation was. My car's down. Bethel's not going to work on the car, even though it's at Bethel's auto shop. I had to work on it myself, and between my job assignments, morning worship, and everything else, I was working on the car and finally got it working. And it's not like I missed 2 months of meetings, but I missed enough meetings for them to notice it. And it wasn't just that I missed meetings, it was that I explained the situation, and it was a legitimate situation where, hey, I missed meetings and it wasn't my fault. Or it was a legitimate situation where in their mind, Bethel is supposed to be paradise. Well, I explained a situation that was not paradise, and they couldn't understand that. So the instant thing to do is to just, their brain shut down. Jehovah's Witnesses' brain shut down. If you explain any situation where a watchtower can be at fault and not you, their brain shut down. And I'm telling you, that's what happened. So now I'm in a congregation where you got everybody looking at you sideways, assuming you must be doing something wrong. Yeah, they hadn't seen you at the meet. You must be doing something wrong. And then once that starts, there's nothing you can really do about it. So that's a situation where somebody can go to Bethel and have, you know, the best intentions in the world, but a car goes down and nobody knew that Bethel just wasn't going to work on it. Not only was Bethel not going to work on it, nobody there, nobody at your morning worship table, your roommate, none of the other mechanics, while they weren't on duty, like nobody was even going to stand. I didn't need them to do it. I didn't need them to physically fix the car. Somebody could have just stood there and told me what to do, and then I would have done it. This is early 2000. I wasn't really big into the internet back then. I wasn't big into the internet. So it wasn't like, oh, all you got to do is just find a video on YouTube on how to, A, what's wrong with your car, and B, how to fix it. I didn't have a daggum cell phone. Like, I didn't have a cell phone when I first got to Bethel. I didn't have access to this information. Car's down. I'm brand new at Bethel. I'm figuring out where things are. I got a busy Bethel schedule. My work schedule is busy. I'm learning the job itself. And at the same time, I'm trying to figure out, A, what's wrong with the daggum car, go to the parts store, go get the parts, and then come to find out that after I got the parts, it's like, okay, I'll get the parts, and then I'll bring it to the auto shop. And even at that point, you figure out they're not going to help at all, not even to tell you what to do. Like, they literally turned the other, you know, they were literally watching me struggle. And then when I kind of looked around, like, I can't believe this, that's when you start seeing your brothers kind of turn around and look the other way and pretend like pretend like you're not standing right here in this auto shop struggling. You can't even make it to your meetings. They don't care. Like, and that's the truth. So the situation is what the situation is. It's not their fault that my car broke down. But the truth of the matter is they didn't care that it broke down. They didn't care if I didn't make my meetings. The other Bethelites, oftentimes those brothers are trying to look good. So if another Bethelite is struggling and they're starting to look bad, oh yeah, they're going to ride that way because that makes them look better in front of the congregation. If I can't make meetings and they can, that makes me the bad Bethelite and they're the good one. So yeah, they're going to ride that way. It's just the truth. I don't blame them for my car breaking down, but I do blame them for not wanting to assist at all and claiming to be God's true one organization. You can't make that claim and then not live up to it. If they weren't claiming that, I would never even expected nobody to help. But that was the claim, so of course I was expecting a little help in an auto shop owned by Jehovah's Witnesses. And then also, when I explained what happened to the congregation, not in a manner that was blaming Bethel, I just told them what happened. My car broke down. And my schedule is different from other Bethelites. I can't ride with them. No, Bethel is paradise. You're evil. You know what I mean? Like, so yeah, I blame them for being judgmental and things like that. So, hey, this is what happens. This is one of the reasons why you have so many people go to Bethel with good intentions and they end up being viewed as apostate and everything else for the smallest reason. The car broke down and Bethel's not going to help them fix it. So you comment down below, let me know what you think. What exactly would you have done in that situation? Okay, if I take my car to a quote-unquote worldly car shop, when am I going to do this? I got morning worship, and then if I get it towed there, when am I going to go get it? How am I going to get there to go get, like, you know what I mean? Nobody cared. So I was stuck until I figured out how to fix it. So let me know what you think. Again, to clarify, I can't take it to an auto shop. This is Wallkill. It's nowhere near an auto shop. If I have it towed all the way to an auto shop, how am I going to go get the daggone car? Comment down below. Let me know what you think, what you would have done in that situation. If you was in a situation, you would have just been looked at as an evil person, as sinful, as you must have done something wrong. Putting on my mask, ex-Wallkill Bethelite, signing out.